because I think I've heard the story, but I'm not sure. It's like because I know you got pushed out of like the drilling kind of industry, right? There was something that happened.
Yeah, it's a fucking fatality.
Yeah, and like
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't heard this whole story. I just heard that like something happened, like that fatality, and but I don't. It was. Did they remove you because they just didn't want to have to deal with any sort of liability issues? Like that was how they dealt with it? Was that it?
No, it was I figured out what it was. Like it is what it is, right? Like whenever you have these kind of like serious fucking incidents where it's fatality, right? Like they'll do stuff. They'll do everything they can, right? Like they'll do everything they can to keep you on their side, right? Like you're part of their company, you're part of their business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as Buddy's fucking brain got split open and he was dead, right?
What happened? Like what did he do? Like what was I don't even know what happened. Like the
So what
incident.
he did was he took it upon himself to do something very dangerous, which was put his whole body and face over a pressure test bar. It's a pressure test bar. So you create a fault to the pipe in a blowout prevention system, right? You do that every time before you go into a hole.
Okay.
You test your blowout prevention system. And the test of the blowout prevention system is a pipe. It's a piece of pipe that you put inside of the blowout prevention system that it enables these pipe rams and blind split systems to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is there was a small buildup of back pressure through the testing process that once the once those pipe releases happened, that bar shot up, but there's a no go at the bottom of the pipe that won't let that pipe go farther than like a foot in the air,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
And so his face was over top of it.
yeah.
He like positioned his body in a position to hold the pipe, like you know, so that whenever those bars were released, that the pipe would just like drop, right? But what happened was there was a small buildup, so the pipe fucking literally fucking blew his whole face apart
Oh my goodness.
of pressure.
Yeah.
So it killed him instantly. His
Yeah.
fucking like the Predator character from like the
Oh
um
yeah.
yeah, that's what his
Split.
face looked like.
I
It was
can't
like it
like.
split his whole face in half, right?
Oh my goodness.
And so that's what I had to deal with that day was his face split in half
Yeah.
and it being my fault in a certain way.
Like
And my
because you
company
were.
tried to tell me like, they're gonna do this for me, they're gonna do that for me, like, but right away, as soon as I knew he was dead,
Yeah.
I was like, I'd like my own attorney.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd like my own, and like right away they were like, oh, why, right? But I was like, no, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't
No.
think you guys have my best interests at heart. I think you guys have
Yeah.
your corporate interests at heart,
I think
right?
you're right with that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so they came at me fucking six ways from Wednesday, and the cool thing is they kept paying me the same wage and like they kept doing all these things for me, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the same thing that Richard was talking about and you were
Yep.
talking about and everything.
Yep.
But like I knew
You know. Yeah.
that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no fucking way.
They don't. There's bringing you back is way too much headache for what they're trying to do.
No, it's not even that. It's more of like a safety culture system.
But because like because this happened, you're deemed like irrevocably unsafe. Was
Well,
that?
what I said over and over again, and this is the problem, is that the guy who died, I said, get him off my rig. I don't want him here. He's dangerous. He's doing stupid shit. He was a black guy, by the way, and he's a fucking moron, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
And I kept saying again and again and again. I think it was like 17 times I talked to Mark, the guy who eventually was like my boss. I said, get him out of here. I was like, put him on pumps, like do anything, like just get him away from me, get him away from the rigs, like he's a danger.
Yeah.
But do you know what I did, Russ? That was my biggest problem.
But
Phone conversations. These weren't emails. These weren't fucking documented things.
yeah. So the only thing that they could prove was that it was like a he said she said as far as
Well, the only thing they could prove was the fact that he died.
yeah.
And
You
oh,
were
dude, man, I had 2 years, man, over my head
I know
where they were combing the documents and the stuff. Oh, it was scary, Russ. I
I
thought I was
remember
going to
that.
jail for the rest of my life.
Well, like
I thought I was going to jail for at least 10 years.
yeah.
Criminal negligence?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like honestly, what it was it came down to the facts, and the real facts were is that he did something really unsafe, and that he'd been trained not to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like this thing that he did. I mean, like I know the safety measures that are up there. They're taken seriously. You have these safety people like that can't kill you are trained over and over and over again.
He had
And
2 kids. That bugs me.
that
He had
yeah,
a wife. That bugs me.
of
But
course.
not only do I not like this guy, and this is the best part for me, it's like not only do I not like this guy to begin with, but fuck, man, I just hated him. I hated this guy. I tried to
Yeah,
get him fired like 7 times before he died.
yeah.
It's not like okay. Here's an example. So Brandon Pigeon was on the opposite shift.
Mm,
They're the guys who set us up with this massive failure that we had to exist with.
yeah,
And a lot of the fucking blame goes on those guys too, because the way they set us up to take the day over
mm,
was just fucking asinine, insane, like fucked up, stupid, right?
yeah,
And so I tried to make the best of that at fucking 4 a.m. in the a.m.
yeah,
and it turned into a fatality. And Brandon Pichon
yeah,
was on that other night shift.
yeah,
So Brandon knows what happened, and like
yeah.
me and Brandon have a tight connect. Me and Brandon have always had a tight connection. Like I got him that job to begin
Yep.
with, and that was hard enough. Fuck me, I fought so hard to get Brandon not fired like eight
Yeah.
times, and the same as Wendell. I fought really hard for Wendell not to get fired either. Now
Yep.
they're both rig managers.
Yeah, they're both like high up there.
Yeah, they're making fucking. You can make
Making
three
a
hundred
good.
thousand dollars a year.
Yep. Easy.
I did that for those guys.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I remember. I remember that. I remember you were getting those guys. I mean, you got Chris hired. You got Wendell hired. You got
Chris was the
Drew.
anomaly. Chris was
Yeah.
the anomaly. He didn't fucking listen to a goddamn thing I said. Didn't listen to anything I said. And then he decided to go to pumps. He did. Fuck me, man. Chris is like my fucking. He's like my black horseshoe of fucking problems that I still feel like I can solve.
You still can. Remember, we're being recorded.
He did everything right.
Yeah.
He did everything right, but he would not go to coil. He said, "I'm
Oh.
going to stay in pumps." He said, "I'm going to stay in pumps."
Was it
Now he has a voice problem
he
because he
does.
fucking
Yeah.
didn't. He also didn't listen to me about the chemicals, and just to tell people to fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
I
just
know.
he's such a fucking believer in like what he's doing all the time that he just listens. He
Yeah.
just listens too much, but he doesn't listen to anyone who has any sense.
Well, and because
It's
some
fucked.
Dylan, sometimes let's be honest, like how you present your information can be
Cryptic.
cryptic is a good way to put it. But I understand what you mean. Like you have his best intentions in mind, and so like you understood some things that he hadn't seen yet.
If Chris does hear this, he does know
He
that
would love,
like
like Chris
I
would have
I
loved
tried to
surveying.
get him into coil, and he
Man,
didn't want to go to coil. He wanted to go to pumps.
he would love surveying because you just got to ride friggin' machines around, and all you had to do was get 6 kilometers done a day. If you got that done in the morning, like you could do whatever you wanted. Like you could just sleep the rest of the
Surveying
afternoon or whatever.
sucks, Russ.
Oh, it
I,
was.
I, I still feel like that. Like you didn't, you learned a lot about stuff, man, but like you didn't learn anything real fucking
I didn't
grit
want.
hard.
I learned enough that I didn't want to. I like the newfies. I got along well with them. They were just up there, just kind of laughing and drinking a lot, which is like they weren't aggressive. The ones I was dealing with, I'm sure there are aggressive ones, but the guys that were the line cutters, they seemed to have such like a good demeanor about them, and they had their whole family up there, and like it was a whole family ordeal as opposed to kind of some of these other friggin' crazy guys that are up there just making way too much money and being crazy. But yeah, no, that's a crazy story, man. Like I haven't had any sort of incidents even close to like that happening. As far as I would, man, that would really hurt me too. Even if I didn't like the guy,
No, it helps if you don't like him. It helps.
I'm sure it helps, but
Can't
it's
hurt.
it's still hard. Like, I think
I
that
have pre-existing racial connotations,
yeah,
and those pre-existing racial connotations did help with the situation.
yeah.
Also, the fact that I think that I told him about 1,000 times to
Uh,
really do stuff that he could think about. Like
yeah.
I remember telling him, I was like, these are things that you can think about and not do.
Yeah.
I remember saying that to him and being like, just like if you can think about it, then you don't have to do it. Like that's what thought is. Like
Yeah,
that's what thought
you're
process
when you're
is, right?
thinking
And
this.
he would argue with me and be like, "Well, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what people want me to do. This is the things I'm supposed to." And he'd say it in a black way,
Yeah.
you know. And I was like, "Fuck! Like I will never get through this dude. Like I will never ever get through this dude." Dead.
Yeah.
Dead.
One sec.
2 weeks later.
I'll be right back. Just you can keep talking.
That's a
If you're
fucking crying
dead 2
shame,
weeks
though.
later,
Hmm.
I'm right.
Motherfucker should have listened, shouldn't he have?
Yeah, like if you're dead 2 weeks later, I'm right. Like that. Like
Huh.
that's a fact.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Hold on a sec.
And racial connotation aside, that's a fucking. If you're dead 2 weeks later, that's a fact.
Yeah.
That's not racial connotation. That's not racism. That's literal.
No, for whatever it is.
You're dead. I'm not dead.
Yeah, dummy,
I
just
tried to
should've
talk to you
listened.
about this, and you didn't fucking listen to me. And now
Yeah.
you're dead.
Yeah.
Dead.
Well, like I mean,
you're not alive anymore.
see, like for me, in that scenario, like it's hard to say because I wasn't in it, but I wouldn't feel any personal responsibility for it because you tried. You try to reach a person over and over again, and their stupidity won't get out of the way. I'm sorry, they got killed by their stupid, not your neglect.
I have no actual guilt association with that death at all.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. I don't think I would.
And like that's amazing. Like some people think that's amazing, but like I talked to this guy for weeks
Yeah.
about what he was up to.
Well, because you knew it. I'm assuming you were there for a bit at that point. If you were like running things, and it's like you knew what the consequences were. And if he doesn't believe you, fucking why is that your fault?
My literal words to him moments before he died was, "Get up on the deck and get ready to pull that test bar out." Right?
Yeah.
That's what I said to him.
Yeah.
And then I went around the corner and I released the fucking pressures and the grips, and his head exploded.
Oh.
So that's what happened.
Jesus Christ.
His interpretation of getting ready to pull that test bar out was stick my fucking face over the test bar.
Yeah.
Tightly as I could, closest to my face as I could do it.
Yeah.
And he's dead.
Cool. Oh.
It's so nuts. Yeah,
that's the connotation. Like that's what happened.
Yeah.
You know. And so, the flaws I've had in my social issues with black people definitely got bigger with that.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
definitely
I was like, so some black guy just nuked my fucking professional career into me being a fucking murderer in a way, because I pulled the switch, man. I pulled the switch that blew his face apart.
Yeah.
And that didn't feel very good. and that's real. Like that's a real thing that happened that I did.
That you did.
You know?
That you have to come to grips with and live with and deal with.
I came around the corner and fucking Simon was like, "He's fucking dead," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, he just like looked at him, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god!"
Face
Like
is gone.
blood just pouring out of his face.
That's such crazy.
I had to give him CPR. Everyone else ran away. I had to give him fucking first responder CPR for fucking an hour and a half with a bull dyke medic. It was her second J as a medic. It was some bull dyke bitch with a shaved head and a small mohawk that was pink, right? Who was our medic.
That's your medic, yeah.
And she's like, give him air to air. And I was like, I can't. His fucking tongue is hanging out of the flap of his face.
His face is down.
She's like, well, then hold it together and put this fucking breathing apparatus on his face.
She sounds like she was definitely panicking more than you were.
And I was like, he's fucking dead. And she's like, you have to. Maybe we'll be able to save him. And I was like, okay. So I took the two pieces of his face that were completely apart, that were blown apart by a steel bar, right?
Yeah, hold it together.
And I held them together, and I put a breathing apparatus on him, and then pumped the small pump thing attached to it to give him oxygen.
And what was she? What was the medic doing during?
I said to her, I've seen people who have died, and I said, if there's no blood being pumped, their heart is stopped and they're dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, are you a doctor? And I was like, fair enough. I will fucking continue to do this.
Continue to get traumatized here. Let's go.
It didn't really traumatize me.
I know. I'm surprised, dude. You've never kind of have it appeared like it has. It would traumatize me because just have it being that close. Like I'm slightly traumatized by the event when I saw a guy like in football practice have his leg bent backwards from the knee. So he's lying on his back and from the knee up, it's fucking pointing straight in the air. It's such a visual kind of like this is not
it's a visual
right,
connotation of
right.
Of,
like and so to see someone's face in that position, like I'm sure it sticks with you, but it never seemed to have scarred you like I think it would scar me. And maybe that's just because your attitude around it is a lot more kind of you're very grown up in that situation for a guy who has lots of non-grown up moments. And I think it does sound like you were wronged. And
well, it allows me to have a jest.
Yeah.
You know, it allows me to have my own perspective. And my own perspective is very simplistic. If you fuck around,
you find out.
You find the fuck out. And it's like, ta-da! You know what I mean? Like there's no fucking pop-up wizardry where it's like, this is, oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
It's like you fucking just killed yourself, man.
Yeah.
Like I've been in so many positions where people have like actively fucking decided to kill themselves in a stupid fucking way. But it doesn't really bother me anymore. It just makes sense. It's like,
Darwinism.
Dude. It's like, dude, man, what's up? Is that your fucking idea? I'll stick my face over it. I'll stick my face over that. It's so insane.
Yeah.
It's so insane. It's like, ta-da! Like the world's worst magic trick, your face exploded.
Yeah.
And you're dead now. And now I have to fucking be the guy.
Yeah, someone's got to pay for it, and
I've got to be the guy. Well, it's not even pay for it. It's like I've got to be the guy to explain it all. And it's like that's enough sometimes to get fucking destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that whole situation was nuts. As far as like, I remember it as it was happening, but I didn't ask a lot of questions because I knew it was kind of a
taboo.
Well, a sticky situation, man. Like,
wasn't that sticky?
Well, like I knew kind of the outcome, but I was almost afraid to ask kind of about details, knowing that like there was stuff going on, and I didn't want to ask for any details while there potentially could still be legal things.
I'll give you a great example. Don't call this sticky situation.
Not a good term for it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, definitely more than that. But no, like I said, I'm glad that they didn't go to jail for it, man. I knew that was at the time a potential outcome. So, in that sense,
God.
It's yeah. I couldn't imagine. Like I said.
That's fucking Canada in a nutshell for you. Could have gone to jail for a workplace accident. Fuck my face.
Yeah, and I know Dylan. He would have called this guy an asshole and called out his stupidity and unsafe stuff right to his face, right to anyone that would listen. And he's saying he did. I fully believe it's. He would. That's his
I
style.
don't
Like,
I don't see him as someone that pulls a lot of punches, really.
right? It's not. That's not what he's gonna say it. And like I remember like with the work stuff, like in the safety, like the reason you get paid so much is it's hazard pay. It is dangerous. You could die if you're not careful and not listening and being lazy and like you're doing this job that you're doing every day. And if you're not taking the safety part serious, you could die. That's just what it is. And that could go
So my
even for those light like people like me surveying. It was even the same with us. Like we were put in dangerous situations too, but much less. Oh, thanks for that.
yeah. Oh, my uncle David McDonald, he worked as a head of health and safety for one of these rig companies. And the amount of fucking how serious he said all this shit is, everything that they deal with, like his accident investigations that he'd have to do,
Yeah.
just nuts.
Yeah.
But they paid him a fucking small fortune to do that job.
Yeah. I do believe that.
Oh my god.
Some of those
Oh my god.
positions. Yeah. That's what's like.
But he came to that role through rig manager as well, so
Okay.
yeah. Hands on, I would think you'd need lots of hands on to know
Yeah.
how to fucking be able to write regulations and write the book on that sort of shit.
Yeah. Oh, I remember like the safety meetings that we'd have in the morning. Like you'd have to have when you worked up there, we had safety meetings every morning. Um, and they're kind of in a sense a joke when you're up there because you have to have them and take like minutes and all this stuff for like daily safety meetings. And but for the most part, they were just kind of like they weren't taken as seriously as far as like dealing with the actual dangers that you might have to deal with. I will say that.
You know why Brandon's fucking nuts?
I got a good idea, but please.
Because he's rig managing.
Yeah, he has to deal with a lot of.
He's like all he is upset now.
Yeah.
Fucking same thing with fucking Wendell. I got Wendell's rig managing now. Like they're
He
doing
did,
the same thing I was doing, man.
yeah.
It sucks. It sucks. It's pays so much money, but it's so brutal. You'll make upwards of fucking $260,000 a year.
Yeah.
To $300,000 a year, but you have to deal with like some real
That's some
serious
good
problems.
money, but yeah,
You
that's some
do.
good money. It's nothing to be scoffed at. But
Oh, and you're their whore too.
Yeah.
Like they
Brandon
phone you
has
that
to.
day.
And
They
you
phone
have
you
to
that
know.
day, and you're going to work.
Yeah.
You're going to work.
Doesn't matter what you're
yeah,
doing. Have planned anything. Like
It doesn't
that.
matter. Your family, nothing
Nothing.
matters.
Yeah.
It's they have you, man. You're
That's
going to work,
1,000,000% correct.
dude. I'm out. Like
I
I'm
know
out.
you're out. Like Brandon, you almost want him to get out. You could see that like he kind of wants out. Like with the whole frustration with kind of
No, he really wants out. He's
yeah,
like he's talked to me a couple times.
yeah, and I can see that like in just kind of he wants to be more focused and around his family more often. He wants to have that consistent schedule that you can plan things around
There's
and
a
be
thing
able to
called
have a
shitty rig
life.
kids. Shitty rig kids are a thing, man.
Oh yeah,
If you're a rig kid, you're shitty.
you wouldn't
Because
want.
not only do you get everything you want, because whenever dad's home,
He's just
you
spending.
get whatever you want. You get all the presents, you get all the shit,
Yeah.
right? But whenever he's not home, not only do you not have a dad, you just have somebody who shows up and who's already fucking really frustrated with life.
Yeah, like it's
You know,
hard. It's
not
hard.
not able to be a nice dad
Yeah.
who treats their kids like their hands.
Yeah, because that's what he's
You know,
used to.
that's what he's used to. Dude, like I got out.
You did, man. There was no doubt. I always thought that was a good thing. I was happy when Chris got out. I was happy when Drew got out. Like Drew, again, another guy who's freaking got injured and had to like get out of
Those
that.
examples don't count.
But they
Chris
got
and Drew
out.
don't count. No, they don't count.
Why?
They don't count
Why?
the same way
Why?
because they were never in a position of management.
Okay, fair.
They never were rig managers.
They
It's so different, man. It's
Okay.
so different to be a hand to be a rig manager.
Yeah.
And Chris knew full well that he couldn't do it and didn't do it when they tried to get him to do it.
Yeah, I remember he turned.
He
it
saw
down.
it and
Yeah.
he didn't do it. Right? That's good on him.
Yeah.
If he had,
he might still be there.
It would have changed Chris.
Which, like, I wouldn't want him to change more. Like, he's negative Chris is like positive Chris is like the best guy ever. I would hate to see him kind of beaten down by that job and turned into like I like Brandon is a sweetheart of a guy. It's kind of weird because you wouldn't know that if you didn't talk to him over numerous days and numerous times, and actually because he's so guarded in kind of
Record this. You recording?
I'm recording. Yeah, we got this. But he's so.
Listen to this. I'm gonna tell you my story,
Alright.
Brandon.
I mean, you know Brandon. I know Brandon through here, and I've grown to really like him as a person, even though, like, man, he is so different than me.
Me and Brandon's story started back whenever we both enlisted in pilot training at the same time. Brandon was the atypical super student, way smarter than his own good, never tried, always got straight A's.
Yeah.
Was a real smart ass piece of shit. I hated Brandon. And I hated Callum. Callum's the other dude.
Yeah.
Callum,
who you're
Callum
still
and
friends
me.
with.
Yeah, they're like me and Callum and Brandon are the two closest, and Keith, and they're the three closest people I have from pilot training.
Yeah.
Brandon made things fucking hard for me to like him. He fucking really did.
Yeah.
And he showed me no respect.
Nope.
He created a animosity.
Right away.
And what happened is that we were at a house party. Carly, another student, her house party.
Yeah.
And Brandon spiked a peach out of my hand that I was about to take a bite out of. He spiked the peach out of my hand.
Just spiked it. Walked by and spiked it.
And I just came out of a fucking serious fucking grow up world I was in.
Mm-hmm.
I was growing weed for money.
Yep.
And he did that, and I've never felt such hate for a person in my life. I literally grabbed him and threw him through the coffee table.
Yeah.
Broke a leg off the coffee table and beat him with it as he tried to crawl away, and then took a knife out of Carly's fucking, knife fucking thing, and said I was gonna cut his fucking head off, and it was his birthday. It was Brand's birthday, and I said I will fucking cut your head off from the back of your neck if you ever fucking talk to me or act like that again. In front of the whole class, as far as who was at the party.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was completely fucking insane. Right?
Oh yeah.
But through that, apparently I gained his respect and some other people's respect in the class. And do you know what he did? Do you know what he did for me? Do you know what he did for me? Brandon, me and Brandon have the most unique relationship.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
So what happened is my final flight test, it was coming up.
Yeah.
And they decided to change the helicopter I'd be in. And it was a very different helicopter in a lot of different ways.
Okay.
And I went fucking ballistic. I fucking told them that they were criminals. I said that I would fucking kill their whole families. I said
You're
all kinds of
psychotic.
I would. I immediately went to their families.
Yeah.
I said I would kill their families, like their children and their grandparents. And it did not go well.
No, you think that's not gonna go well?
It did not go well.
Dude, okay, put it in your. If someone threatened your family, do you think it's gonna go well for them?
I'm not an open threat person. I was going to kill their families.
Shut the fuck up. In Minecraft.
That's how I thought. That's how I felt. But Brandon stopped me.
Well.
What happened was I fucking had this blowout at flight training in front of the brass, like the people who mattered.
Yeah.
Right? And they were like, we need to call the police. Right? Like.
Okay.
And do you know what I did? Do you know what I did? You know what I did was I took a bottle of liquor. I went down to the fucking fucking North Bay. You know, North Bay has a bay attached to it.
Yes.
I went way down in the rocks, like way down into the rocks, into the bay, and I fucking went down there, and I thought about all kinds of stuff and what I was gonna really fucking do, and how I was gonna fucking implement my fucking threats.
I was gonna implement my threats. Fucking weirdo.
And fucking guess who fucking took the time to come down there and find me?
Like, how did Brandon even know you were there?
That's the craziest part. I have no fucking idea. I have no idea how he found me. Because, like, I wasn't, like, just, like, standing around. Like, I was, like, down in the rocks.
Yeah.
And Brandon came down into the rocks, and he had a fucking 2-4 or a 12-pack or something. And he just, like, talked me out of it. It was literally my lowest point in my life, Russ.
Yeah. Well,
after I'd spent, like, $70,000 for flight training, and they were going to fuck me over, and, like, I felt like the whole world was against me, and I couldn't fucking nothing I did right, no matter what I did, was gonna win.
Yeah.
Brandon shows up, and he shows up with more alcohol, which was a good touch.
Oh yeah.
And no, he talked me through the other machine. He's like, this machine does this, it does that. He's like, this is how the machine works. He'd used his sense and his smarts to talk me off that fucking big ledge.
Yeah.
And then I showed up to do my test, and because of what he told me, I was able to do it properly and not get fucking super insane.
Yeah.
And so he saved me on that. He saved me on all that stuff. And like that one act that Brandon has done for me has basically cruised him through every single other act that he's ever fucked up in my life forever.
Yeah, yeah.
And no matter how mad I get at that kid, that one thing he did. That one thing he did for me, and he's the only person who somehow found me magically.
Yeah.
It was like destiny.
Yeah.
And I'll always love Brandon.
Yeah.
I'll always love Brandon. Like, Brandon will never do anything wrong in my heart.
Not to the point where you could turn your back on him. It's just when you, yeah, man. Like when
I've never been so weak.
Yeah.
I've never been so weak and full of hate in my life, and like full of revenge and pain and suffering and destruction, and like he saved me from that somehow. And like, I don't know how he did it or fucking anything else. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it any other way, but he did.
And like, if you expand it out, like he
just gets a free pass.
He gave you a life. He allowed you to have the life you lived, because it sounds like you were in a really bad place.
Well, he gets a free pass forever, as far as I'm concerned, because no one's ever saved me like that.
Yeah.
I've never been so dark.
And you can be dark.
Oh, Russ, you have no fucking idea how bad I was down in those fucking waters and the rocks. I was like, I'm gonna fucking bomb these motherfuckers. I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill every one of them systematically, and like that was my plan. Like, I wasn't gonna persevere and go forward. I was gonna take full revenge and just kill people.
Oh god, dude, I'm so happy you didn't go retarded. Like,
and Brandon pulled me out of it.
Like in a sense, he allowed you to have Ali, allowed you to meet Amanda, he allowed you to have a life, right? By doing that, I can.
Well, that's why he's got a free pass with me. He's got a free pass with me forever, Brandon. Like, he always will, always has. And my God, has he stressed that fucking thing to the max a couple of fucking times. But he has it. He has it. And I don't know if he knows it or not, but he does. And I'll always love him.
Brendan has an amazing way of getting under people's skin. Like, he is really good at it. And
whenever he spiked the peach out of my hand, man, like, I literally fucking clubbed him with a fucking table leg after throwing him through a table, and then held a knife to the back of his head on his birthday and told him I was going to cut his fucking head off. And like, that's the only way you get a hold of. That's the only way you get through that kid. That's the only way you get. It's the only way you get through that fucking kid, man. Is through fucking pure exponential violence of fucking death. It's the only way to get through that guy.
Yeah.
That's whenever he talks shit, and like he talks shit a lot. Like,
yeah,
I know what it takes to fucking change his fucking mind.
That is, yeah, that's funny. Well,
he had no fucking respect for me until fucking 10 minutes later on.
Yeah.
Whenever I said that I was gonna fucking cut his head off. And that worked.
And that worked. And respect gained. That kid's a very interesting
Drew has a
kid.
very similar story to that, but he threw him off a porch. He threw him off a second story porch and then fucking went down there and fucking dragged him around a little bit.
Well, they grew up together in Perth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what Drew had to do to him to
Were
fucking make him
were
listen.
they close friends in Perth?
Oh no, they didn't like each other at all. Like Drew had to throw him off a second story porch because he was being a cunt.
Oh no.
Drew's a big guy too. I wouldn't know if he's fucking talking shit to that guy.
Nice.
Drew's a lot like me though. He's big, a bit big, but he's a softie. I like Drew a lot.
Drew has special qualities.
He does.
That's why I helped him and got him a job.
Yeah, I like that kid. Well, yeah, I'm sure I haven't heard because there's really, but probably no need to tell many. But like, you four live together, Chris, Brandon, you. Like, I'm sure there are some ridiculous stories from that time, with the four of you under one roof.
Oh yeah, man. You asked Drew about those.
Yeah, well, I've heard some of the wake. Drew doesn't like to be woken up, and like that was like a huge thing that happened a lot, in very very torturous ways, being woken up.
That's his problem.
That you're living with roommates, you're gonna get woken up by them. I've been there. Like that will happen.
His time, his things, his stuff that he wanted. He needed goals set for him. It's not gonna happen lazily in bed.
No.
Well, I gotta go, Russ. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Well, I really appreciate these conversations, buddy. I'll post them. If you listen to them
Alright.
and you don't like anything you hear, I'll take anything down.
I gotta go set up 2 kitchens and fucking try and figure out how I'm not gonna be drunk at the same time.
Drink water, buddy.
Fuck that. I'm gonna come in hot. My own business, Russ. Don't tell me I live my life.
It is, buddy. Friggin' yeah, there's no doubt about that.
All right.
It was fun talking to you. Thanks for the talks, buddy.
I miss you, Russ. Can't wait to see you.
Back at you. Later.
See you later, dude.